Hi, Panda friends, it's Mrs. Stewart, and this week in science, we are going to be learning all about the life cycle of a plant. So we've learned about so many plants in the last few weeks, and every single plant that we've learned about has a life cycle. So first what we're going to do is we're going to read a little story, and it's about one of my favorite plants or flowers, the sunflower. The sunflower always puts a smile on my face because it's bright and yellow and it can grow super tall. Second, we are going to look at some pictures of the life cycle of different plants. So different things that the plants go through. And the third thing we're going to do is we're going to go over some big words, because if we don't know those big words, how do we know what's going on, right? Okay, let's get started. We are going to be first looking at that story that I mentioned, and it's all about a sunflower. Sunflower life cycle. Seed. A seed is planted in the soil. Now, the sunflower seed looks like this. Have you ever eaten a sunflower seed? That's one of the foods that you can eat, and we're going to learn all about that next week. Germination. Now, that is one of those big words, but it's okay. We're going to learn what it means. A tiny root starts to grow. So here's the seed, and you see a tiny little root. Seedling. A seedling grows leaves and roots. So first at the top, out of the ground, we see those leaves, and in the ground, in the soil, we see the roots growing. The stem grows taller and more leaves grow. So it started out itty bitty and it's getting taller and taller and taller. And you see a few more leaves, and those leaves look like they've also grown as well. Flowering. The flower head grows many seeds. The sunflower is big. So inside right here, this little circle, this is what's inside of it. It's the seed that was planted at the beginning of the story. Decomposing. Now that's a tough word. The plant dries up. Leaves fall off and the seeds fall to the ground. Now, actually, let me go back to that. What do you guys think is going to happen? So the plant dries up, the leaves fall to the ground. And so do the seeds. Let's see. The cycle starts over when the seeds go back in the ground. Oh my goodness, that's pretty cool. So when that seed goes back in the ground, it plants the seed and it can grow all over again. That's pretty special, right? So it's not that one seed only made one flower. It grew a big tall sunflower, and then the seeds that were right in the middle, right in that circle that we saw, fell to the ground, and those grew new flowers. Isn't that crazy? That's pretty cool. Okay, so that's the first thing off our list. So check, we read our book. Way to go. Thank you guys for joining me with that. Now, next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at some life cycle pictures. Now, in the illustrations of our story, those were not real pictures. So those were illustrations, those were drawings. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at some pictures so we can understand a little bit more what the life cycle looks like. First, right here is a seed. You see a tiny little seed planted. And then you have a seedling. So that's, remember, it grows a little bit out of the ground, and you also have the roots going down. Awesome. And then a mature plant. Okay, mature means grown, old, right? So as you're growing and getting older, the plant's getting older and growing and getting bigger. And then there's a flower. Oh my goodness, there's a flower right there. That's pretty awesome. Now, with those flowers, it's kind of like the flower that grew on the sunflower, am I right? Awesome, you guys. You did amazing with that. Now, we looked at quite a few pictures. Now, what I want to do is I want to go through some of those definitions, because I'm going to be honest, some of those words were pretty tough, right? Okay, so what we're going to first do is go through our definitions, and Mrs. Stewart made a whoopsie. I said I only have 3 things, but guess what? Surprise, I have 4. So we're gonna go with the definitions first, and then we'll go over a little bit of work. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. Let's look at these definitions. Remember, definitions are what a word means. And we use that a lot in the Panda class because there are a lot of very fancy words in this world, and we need to know what they mean, right? Because they usually mean something pretty simple, but they're really fancy words. So the first one I have here is germination, right there. Germination is when a seed starts to grow and a tiny root appears. The second word I have is seedling. Okay, we read the story and we also looked at the pictures and I saw seedling twice. Seedling, right here. Tiny green leaves appear and the root grows bigger. Next, growing. Now, I bet some of you might be able to guess what growing means. You guys are doing it every day. You're getting bigger. Yes, perfect. So growing is when the leaves and buds form and the stem gets taller and stronger. So kind of like you, grow bigger, taller, stronger, and maybe your hair grows a little bit. Maybe you need to get a haircut, right? Those leaves and buds form, the stem gets taller and stronger. Next, flowering. Now the first part of this word I'm going to highlight, flower. So let's see if that gives us a clue. Flowering. The bud opens to show a yellow flowering head full of seeds. Oh, that is so cool, right? It showed all those seeds in that story. Decomposing. Now that's another fancy word. The plant dries up, petals and seeds fall to the ground. And remember, decomposing is the first step to having new plants, right? So the seeds fall to the ground and then you can put them in the ground or they might start growing a new flower. Isn't that awesome? That's pretty special. They've got very good skills, right? I think so. Okay, so next, our last and final thing, number 4, I promised you. It was only 3, but right, I already told you I made a whoopsie. Number 4, we are going to go over a life cycle worksheet. Now, this can be used just to look at. This can also be used to show you kind of what the life cycle looks like. Now, Mrs. Stewart loves to learn by looking at pictures. So I thought you guys might like seeing this as well. Sunflower life cycle. Now, we talked about a life cycle a little bit earlier in the year, and it goes in a circle, okay? So first, we start with germinating. Remember, the seed is planted and there's a tiny little sprout coming out. Next, we have seedling. Seedling, S-E-E-D-L-I-N-G. That's where there's a couple leaves, roots in the ground. And then we have growing, just like you guys grow, getting taller and stronger. Then we have flowering, and that's when you see that beautiful sunflower. That's when you see that beautiful flower come up with the plant that's growing, right? Beautiful flower, and inside there we see the sunflower seeds. Very good. And the last step is decomposing. So remember, the plant starts to die, the flowers go on the ground, and so do the seeds. But wait a second. Let's talk about the cycle. That's not the last step. Because I see an arrow going all the way back to germinating. Now that's what's so special about these plants is that they go through the whole entire cycle, but then the cycle keeps going. So you decompose and then goes to germinating again, and then seedling, growing, flowering, decomposing, all over and over and over again. Isn't that special? That's pretty cool. Okay, so friends, that's all we have today for the plant life cycle. I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.